So we did this last weekend. We'll do it this weekend for the divisional round. So superlatives. BetMGM has all these markets open. Just go to the futures tab under the NFL tab, right? And most passing yards, most rushing yards, and most receiving yards this weekend. Femi, for the main thing, let's talk most passing yards. What is the bet that you would like to make out of the 8 quarterbacks playing this weekend? Who will lead? Who will have the most passing yards? And just so people know, these markets can get funky. C.J. Stroud actually had the most passing yards last weekend, wild card weekends in the NFL.
Yeah, which is the only game that went over the total, which was the game that probably should not have gone over the total, I should say, between the Chargers and the Texans. For me this week, though, I'm not going to get cute, not going super far down the board. I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels at plus 600 for the Washington Commanders. Perfect conditions indoors. It's going to be a raucous environment, going to be loud, but I think Daniels has like that calm demeanor to handle the environment at Ford Field, and they're likely to be trailing throughout this game. Like, they're a 9.5-point underdog. As optimistic as I am at with taking plus 10, they're still like the expectation is they're going to be behind, meaning they're going to have to pass to get back into the football game. And the Lions secondary too, like, don't let week 18 fool you. That was, I think, more about Sam Darnold missing dudes down the field and seeing ghosts and doing whatever. Like, I'm not so convinced that Detroit has all of a sudden gotten back to where they were in the first portion of the year when they were a really good defense. So I think Daniels can take advantage of the secondary, likely to be in a negative game state. So I think a lot of attempts for Jaden Daniels. Give me Daniels plus 600.
I love the look on Jaden Daniels. I consider Daniels. I would not be surprised if Daniels did lead the weekend in passing yards. I'll go with someone with shorter odds, though. And just so people know, and we have it on the screen, but for people listening, Jared Goff is the favorite, plus 300. Mahomes, plus 450. Daniels at 6. Allen at 7. Onward from there. Jalen Hurts is the longest shot on the board at plus 1,600. I don't want to
respect.
But I mean, you know, it's kind of like Saquon Barkley's the favorite to lead rushing
run
yards.
for 400 yards.
Something's got to give. Patrick Mahomes, plus 450 will be my choice. I loved Jay Croucher's handicap yesterday on the show in the NBC Sports Now Power Hour, where, you know, it makes a lot of sense, right? We've seen Kansas City's left tackle spot be a revolving door this year, and Patrick Mahomes put on his ass more frequently than we've seen, you know, the exception being, I guess, the Bucs Super Bowl when, like, the entire offensive line was out and hurt. So I think you're going to see the game plan be Mahomes get the ball out quickly. I think they can have a lot of success doing that. So I think it's Kelsey, it's Hopkins, Worthy, Hollywood. I mean, it's kind of an embarrassment of riches now for the Chiefs on offense here, as I think they're going to win another Super Bowl. I'll go with the great Patrick Mahomes, Femi, at plus 450. Most rushing yards this weekend, Femi. Saquon Barkley is the favorite, plus 175. Derrick Henry behind him, plus 275. Jahmyr Gibbs at 6. Kyron Williams at 7. Joe Mixon, who's questionable on the injury report for the Texans, but Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports reporting today that Mixon's going to play tomorrow. James Cook, David Montgomery follow from there. Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels, both at 30-1. Who leads in rushing yards this weekend?
I think these rushing ones, they're the ones that seem like the most straightforward. Last week, we saw Derrick Henry go for like $180 against the Steelers. I think this week, it is the chalk guy. I'm going with Saquon plus 175. Call me a chalk-eating weasel. I think that I'd be shocked if Saquon doesn't at least get to 100. And that point, I think it's gravy after that one. Like, he went for 255 against these guys earlier this season. It's not going to be to that extent, but I think 150 definitely in the cards for Saquon Barkley. And I think that could ultimately get you home at plus 175.
My analysis of this market's going to be exactly what it was last weekend, and we won last weekend, which was I think Saquon and Derrick Henry should be priced almost exactly the same. And there's a difference in pricing, right? Saquon plus 175, Henry plus 275. In the same way that if you flip the prices, I'd bet Saquon. I'll just take the longer odds on Derrick Henry. I think both guys are going to have big games. Saquon is going to go over 100 yards against the Rams. I think Henry goes well over 100 yards against the Bills. I think him and Lamar are going to be like them running the football, more so for Henry. The difference in that game for the Baltimore Ravens. So I'll play. Where does that chalk-eating weasel? What's that from?
Yeah, chalk-eating weasel. I think it's just like a gambling term. At least I've heard it before in the past. Like, I didn't invent it. I don't even know where I heard it, but like chalk-eating weasel, you just lay a lot of favorites.
Is that what Donkster does?
Plus 175. You would know better than that.
Yes, right? No, the Donkster like takes favorites, right? That's the whole thing. Oh, okay. Yeah, Jake's right. He's a donk. So, but that would be like the donkey pick would be the favorite, right? So I'm right.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
Goff, Barkley. Who's the receiving yards leader?
Donkey picks. Yeah. Puka, right? Well, kind of already laid it out there. Femi, who leads division weekend in receiving yards?
Let's go with my old buddy, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love the setup for St. Brown in this game. We talked about him yesterday during the NBC Sports Now Power Hour. I like St. Brown over 75.5 receiving yards. That's my favorite prop for Saturday's games. But I'll take the plus 800 on Amon-Ra. Like, the Commanders' second level of the defense is exploitable, and I think you'll see Ben Johnson using Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot and getting him out there with chances to go ahead and get yak yardage. I like St. Brown at plus 800. Indoors, once again, perfect conditions. This is a high-scoring game. Give me the Lions wide receiver 1.
But, I will play the same game, and I'll have the guy that I had last weekend. And, so many guys could have been in play if Ladd McConkey didn't have that long touchdown. Ladd almost had 200 yards receiving last week. So Ladd McConkey was the receiving yards leader last week. 197 yards for Ladd McConkey. So Femi and I, neither one of us are going with the favorite in the market, which is Puka Nacua. Nico Collins is next. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the third choice. I will go with the fifth choice on the board. A.J. Brown is fourth. Give me, in the same game, Scary Terry McLaurin. McLaurin's yardage prop has been bet up pretty consistently over the last few days. Last I checked, that's a rap song, right? Last time I checked.
Oh, yeah. It's Nipsey Hussle.
Last time that I checked. Nipsey
checked. Yeah, last time that I checked.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, right?
R.I.P. Nip.
Marathon. The marathon continues. That was his thing, right?
Yep,
Rest in peace.
Always.
Last time that I checked. Terry McLaurin was 67.5. He's going for 100. Climb the ladders. Terry McLaurin, my receiving yards leader. So, Femi, you are rolling with Jaden Daniels, Saquon Barkley, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. For me, Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry, and Terry McLaurin are superlatives this week in the NFL.
Did you see your Triple Crown odds?
What do we got?
Oh, mine was 140 to 1. I don't know what you had for yours. I don't know if you looked at it in the past, but I had 140 to 1 for all three of those guys to lead in their respective categories. Jaden Daniels passing, Amon-Ra receiving, Saquon Barkley rushing. If you want a little fun, 140 to 1, how about that?